Today we're going to be cutting the cabs. And today we're going to be cutting agates in oval shapes. My favorites. Ooh, the sun is shining. It's a good day to get a little tan and work on my pixie. So today I'm going to cut some stones and show you guys how I do it. I'm still a beginner, still learning, but I think I have a knack for it. And let's get a little suntan and go outside. There we go. Hi. So we're outside. I haven't ever filmed outside, so let's do it. It's nice. I'm in Northern California and it's 76 degrees and it's supposed to be in the 80s today, so I can work on my tan and show you about the pixie too, and how to cut some cabs. So I'm new to this. I've been doing this like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months, and I really like it because it gives me a lot of freedom in my pieces to be able to cut my own stones. Otherwise you're limited to where you can find cabs and you buy them online and they're never the quality that you think they're going to be, and you know, they go in your I wasted my money pile, and you hope to destash them somewhere. But if you have ever considered doing this yourself, there's a couple of people that sell used pixies, and they're not so hard to find. Some of the good ones are pixies. Anything made by Diamond Pacific, like the Cab King, is also good. But back to Diamond Pacific, that would be like the Genie, the Mighty Titan if you've got a lot of room. But I have a really small space, and so the pixie works good for me. I've got small hands. I've got 6 wheels on my pixie, and I'll show you that pixie in a little bit. We'll go over there. And basically I do all my work on the 80 grit for the grinding, and then I move down the wheels to polish, and I end up with something fun. So anyway, the first thing you need to do is get some slabs, and that can also be challenging. There's a lot of auctions at Facebook and other places where you can get some cabs, but I found this one on eBay. I have been a little disappointed in some of the ones I bought from auction, so I'm going to keep trying and be a little bit more picky about what I buy. So anyway, this is a crazy lace agate, or yeah, I think it's crazy lace. And you can see I've already cut some pieces out of it. This part down here is pretty unusable. There isn't really anything too cool. Let me see if you can get a good look. This is gorgeous. So this is where the money is, right here, where all that delicate lace, and that is where the money is. So, you know, you might buy a big cab like this and only use just pieces and chunks, and that's how it usually goes. For me anyway. Some people might use the other spots, and you need to look at the back side too, because the back side might have some gorgeous intricate colors and detail. And what you want to do, and let me just kind of zoom in here for you, is I like to take my stone and then take a template. This one is from Cabtopia, and it is called, I don't know what it's called, Tranquil. And it has some fun ovals and stuff, and right now I'm digging ovals. So I'm going to do like ovals and then this kind of elliptical shape here. So this is like your little window or viewfinder. You remember those old toys that used to have like a viewfinder and you could watch slides? So look, if I was going to do a really big cab, you see what I see right there in the viewfinder is what would go on my stone. So I want to capture as much of the beauty of the stone that I can find, and then I just highlight it with a Sharpie. So let's talk a little bit. So I've traced it out, and I've got this little template so I can go back and measure it whenever I want. There's a lot of great templates out there. Okay, this doesn't look very special, and as a matter of fact, it's pretty messy, but I do this outdoors because there's a lot of water splashing, and it's just not suitable unless you have a garage. You can't get a suntan though, right? Okay, so this is my pixie. I bought it used. It's pretty old, but it works fantastic. And sometimes the older models are best. But it has 6 wheels. So I'll do most of my grinding on the 80 grit, and then the 220 will be for finishing and shaping down with the, not really much shaping, but just taking out the other grits. You just keep moving down the wheels. And these are all diamond blade wheels until I get my stone where I want it. And then on the end there's a flat lap that I can use to polish for high shine. Now the other thing about the pixie that's cool is you can actually get a trim saw that hooks onto this. This wheel will come off and then you'll hook it on the end. So if you don't want to buy a separate saw, just have it all in one unit, you can do that. But I like to have them in different spots. So I bought this old Rock Rascal. You do it. Anyway, so here's my old Rock Rascal Model J, and the motor on this thing is bigger than the Rock Rascal, but it works like this. This is just on kind of a hinge setup. So I put my belt on, and then I get on my Rock Rascal, and I'm good to go. Now this one isn't bolted down because you have to unbolt it when you want to dump out the water, and that is the bummer about these old models, is they're not very user friendly. I mean, they're pretty easy to use, but they're cumbersome because there's like no drain hole or anything for the water to come out. So you have to take the whole thing off of this if you want to dump the water out. And I've left this unscrewed so you can just kind of see the water goes in there, and that's really where your wheel blade is. So that's not very complicated to use. It's really not very, it seems intimidating, but really, seriously, it's not. So you just want to bolt that thing down, put a little screwdriver in. As long as you have that handy, we're good to go. First thing you got to do is put water in it. So I'm just going to put some water, and you want to mix a little bit of stuff in there to keep your, there's some water. I don't have the bottle right now, but it's stuff that makes your saw not get rusty. You don't really need it, but it's like a lube, a water lubricant. So, and then when I turn it on, it's going to get loud. You're not going to hear me, so hopefully you can just see. This one actually has a guard that goes right here, but I had to take it off because my stone is too big. So that's another thing to consider when you're buying a rock saw. Make sure you get a saw that's big enough for the slabs that you're going to be cutting. Because right now I can only cut pretty small slabs with this 6-inch wheel and this kind of setup. So I'm told about 2-inch stone is about as big as I can go. Okay, so let me grab my slab, and we'll zoom in here. I've got the camera pretty close. It might get wet. Hopefully it doesn't, but I wanted you to be able to see and hear me, so this is the best. I'll try to talk loud. So I've got my little spots marked out. Now you can't really cut with a curve on your Rock Rascal, so I'm going to need to kind of cut up this way, and then I can cut out my other two. And I may not be able to get what I want there, so that's going to make a difference. If I want to get 2 cabs, I doubt I'm going to get that thin line in there. So I'm going to do the best I can. I might have to shift this one over a little bit, but let's see where we end up. Oh, always wear your protective goggles. You don't want, a face mask is even better, because you don't want to get a rock in the face. So I'm going to put my goggles on, go ahead and start cutting. At this point I'm stopping because I want to see what's on the other side, and there's nothing really interesting there that I could ruin, except I might want to save this little area here, so I might just go sideways here on out and see what I can do. Let's see, sideways will put me right about there. Yeah, I'm just going to keep going a little further. All the action is right here that I don't want to mess up. Much smaller slab. That should be pretty easy to cut. Ooh, that's so pretty there. Okay, we're gonna see what we can do here and not mess up our stone. I hate cutting out all the pretty stuff. All right. got lucky. I didn't lose anything, so that's awesome. Yeah, so either of these is good to go. That's awesome. Awesome sauce. So I don't know if you can just see. The idea is to cut as much of the area off without breaking your stone and without being too much of a stress on your grinding wheel. So you want to get this as close to this without cracking the stone. Even this little broken chunk can make a really pretty cab. Whoa. I try to just trim up some ends here. Now this wheel also, it cuts from the side, so you're not going to cut yourself. It's pretty smooth here on the end, so you don't have to worry about that too much. I think I'm going to stop there. That looks like a great place to stop today. Okay, let's take this over to the Pixie and we'll get going. Okay, I've got water in my tray, my Pixie, and I've got my little light on, though I don't need it. It's really bright here, but just maybe so you can see better. This is the 80 grit wheel, and this is the wheel that I'll be using to do the shaping. So what I want to do is trace around that line, and I want to make sure that I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to turn on my Pixie, and we're going to grind away everything so we have just the basic shape of what we want to work with. My Pixie purrs like a little kitty cat. Meow. Oh, there's a buggy in here. Get out, buggy. There we go. Water nice and clean there. Look at that. It's like painting with watercolors, and my Band-Aid's going to come off. Also, when you're using your wheel, you want to use the whole wheel. Don't stay in one spot, or you'll wear it down. So work across your wheel. gonna pause here for a minute. I'm gonna slightly round these stones, and as a jeweler, I don't want to be setting any hard, pointy end edge stones because they make a crease in my bezel wire, and I just don't like the way they look. So I'm gonna make sure mine are a little bit rounded on the ends and not have a sharp point, even though the template had a sharp point. You see my template has a sharp point like that, but I want it to be a little round. So where you see that beautiful orange water that came through here on the pixie is from this little piece right here. I'm not sure what that is, but it sure is pretty. That's the back of my stone, and this is the front. Now I'm just going to go around the back and take that edge off, because if you have a hard edge on the back of your stone, it's going to crack. Okay, I'm happy with this, and now the next thing to do is to dry this stone off and mark it. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is I want to mark where my girdle is going to be so that I don't file over it. Made it a little darker so you can see. Okay, so I just made like a little half mark sandwich line, and this is the top of my stone, so I'm going to be working over this way. Okay, so what I want to do now is put it on a dop stick, because it'll be easier to control. So I'll be right back. Okay guys, so this is, you don't need this. You can certainly just use super glue and a popsicle stick, not a popsicle stick, a super glue and a golf tee or a little wooden dowel rod that you can buy, or you can also use something called dop wax. But I bought this because everybody is raving about it. It's about 24 bucks. It's called the Dop Master. And it has a little set screw in there. So what you do is you put a screw in and you glue your stone to the screw, and then you can hold it like this. So all you do, you've got a whole bunch of screws. Here I just have a few sitting in here. You take some glue. This is just regular super glue. And you put it on the top of one of these screws. Just a dot will do ya. And then you just set your stone on top of here. Oops, hummingbird alert. Make sure you do the right side up, okay? And you want to get right in the center of the stone. Just do it like that. I want to check underneath and make sure I'm in the middle there. Yeah, that looks good. Gouda. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry for about 3 minutes before I even touch it, because I don't want to knock it off. Okay, so that is just a stone sitting on top of a screw. These little screws come out. And once you have your stone on top, you stick it in here and you secure it with the Allen wrench with that little nut. And then you're good to go. You have a little tool for holding and rotating your stone. But this is, you know, a little more high-tech than most people want. I find it was actually cheaper for me, though, than using dop wax in a dop pot. So 24 bucks and $1 for the super glue at the dollar store, and I am set. So we're going to let that dry, and we're back in flat. Okay, so while I was waiting for that other one to dry, I went back to my rock rascal, my saw, and I fixed that one that I had broken. I basically just made a smaller cab. But see, now I have the tougher choice of deciding which side I want to be in the face of my stone. Because you see how beautiful both sides are. But I'm really particularly attracted to these little circles, so I'm going to make this the top of the stone, and this then will be the back. But this would be a great setting if someone wanted to pierce out the edge of the back of the piece and show a little bit of the stone, like maybe do a little oval slit in the back of a back plate and show how pretty that is. But you're going to get this one on the front today. And you know, with a lot of my comments I make about colors and stones and stuff, these are just personal comments, you know. I don't want to step on any experienced cabber's feet or toes. It's just how I feel as a jeweler. This is me expressing my opinion. And you can take them for what they're worth and put a nickel in the bucket and move on. Don't get hung up. Okay, so here we are with our little stone. It's securely attached to, it's super glued to the screw. The screw goes into the dot master, and then this little Allen wrench tightens it on. Make sure you tighten it on there good. You don't want to strip your screw, but it will kind of loosen a little bit as if you're spinning, which I tend to do. So let's make this into a cabochon, shall we? Like I said, I'm a beginner, so this is, if any of you experienced cabbers want to leave me some comments and chime in on better ways to do things, I would love it. So anyway, here we go. So the goal here is to, let me just stop for a minute. The goal here is to hold the stone at a 45-degree angle. I'm going to go around my blade and gradually decrease the table of this stone. In order for you guys to see that, and actually it helps me also because I am a beginner, is I colored the top of my stone with some marker, and you can see the progress. And a little bit of alcohol will take this off, but we're going to grind all this surface off anyway, so. So now you'll really be able to see the process quite well.
Dry, baby, dry.
Okay. Why is it not recording? Hello? Okay, I just realized my camera was turned off when we were doing the recording. So at the 45-degree angle, so I'm going to come back and show you this part again on a different stone, but it's the same technique. So you go in at this 45-degree angle, and keep just down to the girdle. You don't cross that girdle that you've marked off. And you move in a little bit more. And what you want to keep doing is just keep going until you get this little flat part on your stone. You can see that you have not done that yet. So technically your stone is not round. It's got a flat spot. So you're going to keep going until you get rid of that. Notice you have a little bit left there. And then at this point, you just go straight. Until it's almost gone. And then you can just start going like this. Okay, so here we are. This is what we've got right now. Back that up so you can see. Looking good. I'm going to go on to the next wheels because I've got all the heavy marks out, okay? And it's shaped, and now all I want to do is just get these little, gosh, I don't know if you can really see them. Try to focus in for you. There are some little marks in there from where the 80 grit wheel was. I'm hoping you can see them on this camera. So here we go, on to the 220 grit. And this would be this wheel here. And I'm going to move my little water thing over. And go on to the next wheel. Me likey. So I'm going on to the next wheel. So at this point, I'm starting to see a little bit of shine on my stone, which is great. So I am just at the polishing stages. And again, just trying to remove the grit from one wheel down to the next. So now I'm going to go down, and I don't even know what the numbers are. I think there's like an 800 and a 1200 and a 3000. I don't even know what this one is, maybe 6 something, but because they're all worn off. So here we go, on to the next one. So I'm on number 4, wheel number 4 here, and here we go. Same motion. Uh-oh. Okay, no, I forgot to put my water under it. Don't ever do that. It messes up your thing. Oh, bad girl. Okay, so now I'm on to the 4th one here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Water's under, moved under. I'm gonna go on to number 5. Getting there. We are getting there. Got my water under the wheel and ready to go. This is the last wheel on the Pixie until I go on to the side wheel. So. At this point I'm going to dry my stone because you really can't tell if there's any scratches or anything going on if it's not, if it's wet. So, and it looks pretty good. I don't see any spots. Let's see if you can see any. Or I might have missed something. Don't see any scratch marks. Good job, Mama. Mamacita likey. Okay, so now I'm going to go on to my secret wheel. Now for an agate, I think you're supposed to use serum oxide maybe. I don't know, but I just have, I can get so you can see the side. Because on the side, I have all these wheels, and then you have this little screw-on wheel here on the end. And this one is charged with diamond compound. And diamond paste comes in a little tube like this. This is 1400 mesh. And you can put a little swipes like this on your whoop, whoop, on your wheel. A little starburst all the way around. This one already has some on it though, so I don't want to waste it. And I'm just going to put a little bit on my stone too, because that's going to help. And I'm just going to moisten that thing with a little bit of gem lube spray. I don't think you have to do that, but why not? Okay, and then I just put my Pixie back on. And away goes trouble down the drain. And I'm just going to polish it down. Sides real good. I might have a little bit too much diamond paste on here, but that's okay. You just want to work on the outer edge here so your stone doesn't go flipping off. It's getting shiny, but I want it to be more shiny, so I'm going to keep going. Your stone will start getting hot if you're on there too long. And like with turquoise and things like that, you never want to overheat those stones. Alright, wipe this off. Take a look at what we got. Okay, we got a nice high shine polish. And I don't know if you can see that, so let me get you out here in the sunshine. Let's see. Can you see that, baby Sean? I don't know if you can or not. I can see it shine. It looks beauty-muss. So now I'm going to show you how to get this little sucker off. Now I don't want to heat the stone, so I'm going to point away from the stone. And I'm just going to heat up just the tip, okay? The tip till it gets hot. When it gets hot, this will just fall right off. Again, point your torch away from the stone and just onto the tip. This is just an oxygen torch. It's just an old outdoor torch. It's not that hot, so. There we go, see? And you are done. Now your stone is going to be a little bit warm. Do not put it in cold water, because if you do, it'll crack. Just lay it on your bench and let it cool down. In case I didn't mention, don't wear your Prada dress for this exercise. You'll get dirty and wet. And don't even wash your hair. Like, you know, put it in some pigtails and get dirty. So, anyway, after you cut one of these little puppies, you're going to need to get that crazy glue off the back. So, you know, I always say if you can make the back of the stone pretty, you're probably going to sell it. I'm not really making my stones to sell them, yeah, because I know when I do a lot of pendants, I love to pierce out the back, you know, and I like a pretty back. So everybody likes a pretty back. So what we're going to do is just put this back on the wheel, and we're going to take off that little rough spot. Okay, so just a couple of notes. As I've been buying slabs and cutting slabs, you know, I haven't bought maybe more than 6 or 7 slabs, but I'm noticing if I want to get that really nice little dome that we got today on those little ovals, that my slab needs to be about 5.5 milliliters thick, 5.65. And it made a nice little dome, as you can see, where I'm going to show you these little guys up close. So come on down. So the ones we made today, this was the first one. Oop, wide. There we go. Yep. This is the first one. I've been, you know, working on the pixie, so my nails need a manicure too. But, you know, I want to show you the whole thing. This is the stone we cut today. And see, this is the little one that I saved. Remember I showed you one and I was going to cut it, and I was deciding, and it snapped on the block. So this one, I actually just made it a little bit smaller, and that was the back that we couldn't decide whether or not to do the back or the front. I polished both sides. So that's the back and this is the front. But I love this little detail in here. And that is why you will pay a lot of money for some stones, because these sweet little spots and decorations they're prized real estate, and people want those in their stones, and you have to waste a lot of stone to get to those little nuggets. So sometimes you might end up paying more than you think you should, but when you really realize what the stonecutter had to sacrifice in order to get you that part of the stone, then you might feel a little bit more comfortable about it. So these are just some other ones. This is the one we made today again. Try to get you a good shot of it. It's really a pretty stone. And I just love these neutral colors. I absolutely love them. They're so pretty. That's the back side. Shiny and pretty. I don't know if you can see how shiny it is. And these I also cut today. These other ones. And you know, while you're out there, you might as well cut up a bunch. It took me like well, I was shooting a video and stuff, so it took me like an hour to cut 3. And then I was pausing, but I'm still new, and I'm sure I'll get faster. And my moves aren't as smooth and awesome as some of the old-time cab makers, But I can tell you right now, you'll get better. I mean, I'm already feeling better now that I sat down and did like, 5, 6 of these in a row. I feel like I got the shape down and I'm okay. I'm sure I could still do a better job, but these are good enough for me to want to set. And I'm a picky jeweler. So for me, they're good. So I hope you liked the video, and I hope you like looking at all these fun little stones. And I hope you decide to get a pixie or a Mighty Titan or a Genie or a Cab King and try this yourself. I mean, as jewelers, it just opens up the world for you so much more to be able to cut your own stones. Can't say enough fun things about them. So I hope you had fun watching me cut some cabs, and I hope you get to cut some too. Peace out. Subscribe me.